my friends. Welcome to R&B Talks. I'm Brian, and this is Reggie.
I'm Brian, and this is Reggie. This is our Christmas episode, but I'm so solemn.
I'm not sullen at all, actually. I'm pretty good. I'm tired of the cold already.
Hello.
I did not sound like that. But thank you. Thank you. It's nothing like a nice boost to the ego, Reg. Nothing like pumping a guy up, right?
Ho, 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 suckers!
As everyone can see, Reggie has the sweater on.
Oh, man.
The sweater. He has enough Christmas joy for both of us with that sweater.
Oh, man. Well, you know, it's funny. I have Christmas shirts.
Okay.
Like there's like I got like a button up because I don't remember, my wife wanted, so there was like one I liked a lot. It just had like I don't know, like bit holly leaves and you know whatever on the side. It was black. It looked, but I was like, okay, that looks good. And then I think my wife bought me this one that has Santa on it, real big and everything, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't really need that many. It's not like I have a sweatshirt that says, has Darth Vader on it. It says, your lack of cheer is disturbing, right? So I got like those three. And then out of blue, she's like, oh, I got you a Christmas sweater. I'm like, I didn't really need one. But here we are. We have
Hey, listen. Your wife knows what you need.
Well, it wasn't, you know, look, my daughters, man. It was just funny. I'm just sitting over there. I was like looking at, actually some headlines and stuff, but excuse me, but they came in, they're running in. Daddy, we got your Christmas sweater for your episode.
Yeah, and you can't bounce back on that.
Nah,
dude.
I mean, it's like, okay, thanks, sweetheart.
You can't rebound off that, man.
That's all there is to it. That's done.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I have an imaginary Christmas sweater on.
You do.
I do. It's beautiful in my imagination.
So awesome.
It's stunning. Sorry, couldn't resist. And Reggie is smoking a finger pipe. It's bamboo, but it literally looks like he's smoking a skeleton's finger.
How does that look like a finger though? There's
dude,
like
I don't
1,
know.
2, 3, 4. There's plenty of digits.
Maybe it's like several fingers linked together.
I got this from Paul's Pipes and it was funny. Only reason, because it's not really. It's a really nice pipe though, but
it's cool.
He called it the ugly egg, you know, and I'm like, yeah, it's ugly, but it's so ugly that I think it's cool.
It's so ugly that you had to have one.
Yeah, it's like, I'm so ugly, I gotta have it.
Yeah. I've never been in that situation where I've looked at something and that is the ugliest thing that I've ever seen, and I must have it.
I don't know. There's things that are like, okay, this is so off the beaten path, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I take that back. I have bought some tennis shoes that are ungodly awful, but I had to have them because they were so unique. As everyone knows, I am a shoe junkie, and I don't. The more unique and the more different, the better and happier I am. And I have purchased some awful and ugly shoes and sported them proudly. But that's beside the point. How was your week, Reg?
Shitty. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, kind of a garbagey week in a little bit, right? Like, it's the end of the year. You're tired.
See, but I feel like every time we do these episodes, it's always shit. It's always like, oh, it was god awful. It was. Well, to paraphrase a great friend of mine, it was utter, complete garbage.
It wasn't total garbage. It wasn't like a bucket of garbage.
No, look,
juice.
my problem with this week.
Okay.
It's really, it should be, because like I got my last week of classes was last week of work before I'm off for the rest of the year, taking off for vacation, all that stuff. But like this whole health insurance debacle is just freaking, it's got me kind of like on edge a little bit when I shouldn't be, you know?
Yeah. I get it. I mean, it's a big deal, right? Like it's not like a little thing, you know? I mean,
no,
and if it's got you shook enough to be like digging deep for options, it's a big deal.
Well, it's like, I'm not panicking because I know, okay, so I'll tell the story since the people listening, they're like, but we found out when we took one of my daughters to get blood work, the place said, hey, by the way, don't know if you know this or not, but we didn't renew the contract with your health insurance company. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're not going to accept your insurance after January 1st. Like you'll have to pay cash for your services. This medical group is this, like, it's a big medical group that has like all the we use all the doctors and the facilities are all under this particular group. So and this is probably why I thought it was so crap, because it was like all these email threads and phone calls I was making this week about all this stuff about, can I terminate my medical coverage and keep this? Can I do this? Can I do this? It was all these things. It was like, no. It was like a glaringly big red glowing button of no the whole week, right? About anything I could do. So I don't know. I don't want to change doctors, but they have to. I don't know if that's good for my wife or not, but we'll find out. But it's not like I can't work around it, but it'll cost me money and it'll cost me time. And either one of those, I don't really want to have more of spent,
Well, this one's for you, Reg. Yes. I'm going to be the one guy who says yes. Does that make you feel better?
I haven't asked to taste the biscuit yet, though.
That's okay. Yes, you can taste the biscuits. And you can taste the biscuit with the goodness of the honey sauce.
See, why did she say honey sauce, though? You know what I'm saying?
You know, the KFC
Okay, but she's specifically talking about like the KFC honey packet.
Yeah, I think that's
so. Is she actually talking about the KFC biscuits?
Yeah, she says it in the song. Remember?
That is KFC biscuits?
KFC 5-piece. Like, she talks about the KFC in the song. Like, KFC needs to go find Toasters and Moose and like put them in a commercial. It would be, I
guess I don't remember
global.
That, but I really found it appalling anyway. But so not only did she write a song about a biscuit, but she wrote a song about a KFC biscuit.
I know.
She's obviously never had a really good biscuit.
And then she obviously doesn't like butter in the way it mixes with her mac and cheese either, which I find odd because I find that butter makes everything better.
You put butter in mac and cheese.
I know. And butter makes everything better.
Hell, you should put butter on your biscuit too.
But here's a question. I am convinced that the butter that KFC has is not real butter. So maybe that's why they call it butter spread. That disqualifies it from being actual butter.
It's because it isn't butter, dude. It's the same thing with the honey sauce. It like has like a very minute amount
like
of actual
honey.
Yeah, it's nothing. That's what it is. Like when you so because we don't try to eat so much of that stuff, so my girls, right? So now they like the real stuff.
Oh yeah.
You try to feed them the raw, like the weird. Oh man,
dude,
they're like, "What is this, Daddy?"
It's garbage, bro. It is so bad.
I told my girls the other day, I was like, "Look, when I grew up, we had like the cheapest margarine crap we could find at the store in a tub.
I can't believe it's not butter.
We couldn't afford that.
Country crock.
It was like the cheapest generic form of butter thing-ish.
Country rubber bucket of
whatever it was.
Spread.
I mean, that's what we had. So it was like, real butter was like a thing. It was like, we got real butter. Oh my God.
No.
It was a special occasion.
I'm ruined.
So my biscuits will never be the same.
Oh, I shudder a little when somebody tells me that look, man, the last time I ate KFC willingly, I can't even remember. Cause it's gross. I mean, no offense to KFC, but Taco Bell's gross.
I don't know. I love me some tacos, bro.
I can't do Taco Bell, man. You can't eat a good taco.
I know.
Like you cannot go to like Agave and Rye and eat an actual good taco and then go to Taco Bell and enjoy a taco.
I know. Well, but it's just like if you're out and about, I just want a taco. I'm fine with that. I don't have it. So, and the same thing with like, what was the, but a burger though, I guess because I've eaten too many, too many cheeseburgers. I can't do that too much at like McDonald's. About makes me sick.
I don't know,
Can't
man.
do that.
Dude. And here's the thing. It's almost cheaper to eat at a sit down restaurant anymore than it is to eat at fast food.
Yeah.
right? Because, I mean, you go to McDonald's and get a couple of value meals and you're 25, 26, 27 bucks in, man. That's a lot. I remember when you get 2 values in McDonald's for $10.
Yeah.
Now you get like a quarter pounder with cheese and fries and all that stuff, and it's like $9.50 for that.
I mean, we spent. My problem is, dude, what happens is like we'll be out and about, right? Yeah. So like it'll be a day when we had to leave at a certain time, so I didn't eat in the morning, and it's like 2:00, and I'm like, damn, I'm like everything's gurgling. I was like, you need to eat.
Yeah.
And so by the time I make it to somewhere, it's like, I want 3 of them and 4 of them and 5, you know, but you can't do that obviously. But
I actually do better when I don't eat breakfast.
I don't. I do terrible.
When I eat breakfast, I seem to be hungrier during the day. But if I like have just a real small little snack of something or nothing at all, I'm really good. I don't need anything else. You know.
Interesting.
It's very weird.
Speaking of interesting.
Yes.
How about a word from our sponsor?
Exactly. Let it roll, Reg.
Cue it up. Okay. Are you a small business or solo entrepreneur looking for more of a presence online? Technology is ever changing, and with more and more people spending most of their time on screens, it's important to have your brand out and about, getting the most exposure possible. Worried about not having a big budget for website design or social media?
At Edwards Managed Technology Computer Consulting, we cater to every business or solo entrepreneur's individual needs to come up with a plan that works for your product and your wallet. Interested in learning about how we can manage your online presence so that you can spend your time doing what you love to do instead? Visit www.emtcc.net to make an appointment or give us a call at 1-888-551-2770. Mention R&B Talks for 10% off your appointment. Remote and on-site options available.
Hello, we are back.
Yeah, right on.
So we were talking about the longest song.
Yeah, radio song.
That
we know that the Wagner opera is 7 years long.
I said Wagner. Well, but I always wanted, when I lived up Northeast, what I always wanted to get tickets to the Metropolitan Opera is see it. Right? But in order to go through it's like over 3 or 4 evenings, right?
Okay.
But the Wagnerine cycle, but it was like, it was going to be, I don't remember what it was. This is going back 10 years now, maybe $1,500 to go get decent seats and do all that. I don't know what it is now. And you had to buy them like in a year in advance. I always did want to go. And eventually I'll probably do. Because the Metropolitan Opera, it has like the highest paid classical musicians pretty much in the world. Yeah. Because they actually, when I was in college and prepping for like orchestra auditions and stuff, it was always like, that was your dream thing. But anyway, I always wanted to go. But longest radio song. I don't know, because to be honest, man, probably when the long radio songs were actually being played, I wasn't listening to the radio.
Dude, I'm gonna say that the longest song that I've ever heard. It's probably, I don't know. Maybe I don't think it's the longest song there is, but it seems long because I've heard it 4,000 times. Is the full cut album cut of Hotel California. I know it's not the longest song that they've made, but when you've heard it 642,000 times, it makes itself longer.
Yeah. Dude, because when I think about long songs, I always think of prog rock and stuff like old Genesis and.
Well, I know there's some stuff that Yes has that's like 12, 14 minutes long. Yes has some seriously long songs. If you ever listen to the entire version of Roundabout, that's pretty long. Not the radio cut, but the entire version. That's a pretty long song, right?
Speaking of music, so Chicory Electric Band, I think I mentioned that when we talk about music, right? Yeah. They actually have a deluxe Chicory Electric Band studio album set on LP you can buy now, all put together and everything in this cool thing. It's a couple $100, but I'm like, I told my wife, I said, I got to have it. Yeah. No. That's what I grew up. Like everybody else had Nirvana and all the crap. No, I grew up with Chicory Electric Band. So it's like, I'm like, I got to do it. But I used to have like a really nice turntable, and stuff, but I don't anymore. So it's like I'm buying the LPs when I don't even.
I'll send you the link to the record player I bought Caleb. It's a nice record player. It's not huge, but it's good quality, and it's got compatibility to link to Bluetooth speakers. So if you want to just put wireless speakers in the room and play it through the LP, it works.
I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably just hook it up to my receiver in here. And
fair enough. But you never know. You might want to hook up the little portable Bluetooth speaker.
But see, that's the FISA point. It's not going to be portable at all. So why have Bluetooth? That's just that's
the
odd.
The speaker's portable, not the album.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you're not,
Oh, do you remember that the record players you used to be able to buy? You could close the lid and you carry it like a suitcase. I wonder what happened to those.
That's what I'm talking about. I want a belt drive, freaking old school.
So you want an old school record player?
Well, I have one out in that hallway. When you come up our stairs, you come around there. That cabinet, it's one of the old record cabinets.
Nice.
And it still works.
Does it have an 8-track player in it?
Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet. You need to start collecting 8-tracks.
It's got a radio, and it's got I think it has 8-track, but it's got a record player in it too. All that stuff. And then the speakers are on the side, right?
Yep.
It's really neat, but it was like too big to put in here. Like I didn't have room enough for put that in there unless I just, because the top opens up to put your records in, so you couldn't put anything like on it.
Nice.
Anyway, look, as people can probably already guess, it is Christmas time.
It is.
Hence the sweater.
Hence the sweater. Hence the jolliness. Ho, ho, ho. So, Reg, how you feeling about Christmas?
I love Christmas, man. I mean, and I feel good about it. But we do Christmas so different though than when I was growing up, man. I mean, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, I struggle with Christmas a little bit. I think Christmas time was the time when I was a kid when my family fought the least. And that's really why I appreciated Christmas, honestly, because I mean, I grew up not really in a Christian household. They claim to read the Bible and claim to know God's word, but my family was very chaotic. And that's not everybody. People are going to hear this and go, Brian, what a douche you are for saying that. No. Douche. Yeah. But no, I think that the only reason I loved Christmas when I was a kid, looking back on it, is it was the least chaotic time that I ever had as a kid. The rest of the year was just elbows and knees and hoping to clear the bar, right? And then Christmas time would come, and I guess my family had some kind of internal instinct to not want to cut each other and scream at each other, And, I can say this, I do appreciate Christmas with my dad being around now, because my dad is a man of faith, right? So, it's sad this year because my stepmother is ill and we're not going to be able to be there for Christmas. And that really kind of bums me out, because my dad is an excellent musician, and they would sit around and sing like Little Drummer Boy and get out the mandolin and the guitar and sing gospel songs. And it was very, it had a spirit, it has a spiritual element to it, right? Like it reminds you of what the actual story of Christmas is, right? Like, the story of Christmas has nothing to do with gifts, nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with, the birth of Christ, right? So I really began to appreciate that part of it, right? That there was this spiritual element where we recognized what the holiday was about. And we never got crazy with gifts. We gave to each other, but we never got crazy with gifts. Yeah. It was more about getting together, man, and just loving on each other and having a good time. And this year, not having that, I'm sort of struggling with, not having it. Another blessing though is we don't have to travel on Christmas Eve. So I get to actually start to begin to have traditions with my kids and my wife that I've never been able to have, because for the last 20 years I've been married, it's been, dude, Katie, bar the door, let's roll. Let's get to where we got to go. We're jumping from house to house. And, you know, which a great, funny Christmas Eve story. You're going to like this. I want to say this was like 3 Christmases ago. I was sick as a dog. Like, I was broke, dude. Like, I've not been that sick in a long time. I had been sick for 2 months and fighting it and taking mass quantities of decongestants and mass quantity. I mean, I think Mucinex stock went up like 800 points while I was sick. So my dad lives on a hill on a knob in Stanford, and God bless it, man. It's so peaceful out there. But we drive out there, and Julie and I haven't been out there that many times on Christmas, and it was dark and it was snowing like a nutball, man. It was crazy. So we go, and I think I know the right way to go. So I'm like, let's turn left here. So we start driving, and we start to realize after about 30 minutes of driving that we have no idea where we are. It's snowing like crazy. So I get this emergency call from my wife while I'm driving. My son is asleep in the back of my Trailblazer. Oh my God, something under my car is going haywire. So my wife pulls off on the side of the road. I get out in the snow. I crawl under the car, and she's hooked a limb, right? There's nothing wrong with the car. She's just dragging the limb. So I pull the limb out from under the car. And she's like, we got to figure out what's going on. But the GPS won't work because we got no signal, because we drove to the middle of nowhere, literally. So I said, let's just soldier on, and we're going to see Lexington in a few minutes. I know it. And we start driving. What do we come up on? We come up on Somerset, which is, we realize at that point that we've gone about 50 miles in the wrong direction. So we finally get the GPS to work. I am dying in the car. Like, I'm like trying to keep my eyes open. It's pouring down snow. Like, I'm in the Trailblazer. My wife's in front of me. We left my dad's at like 9 p.m. We got to my wife's mom's, my in-laws' house at like midnight. I died in the bed that night, woke up the next morning, was even worse sick than I was the day before. But it was so funny because it was just like, I was like, we got to stay calm and take it off that Caleb is asleep and remains asleep through this entire endeavor. Never wakes up, never stirs, never moves, just snoozing in the backseat. So yeah, that was a funny Christmas.
That's funny, man.
As my Clark Griswold Christmas story.
I know we always went to my grandmother and grandpa's house on Christmas Eve. It was always the thing.
Yeah.
Go up to the farm. You know, the house was, everybody's packed into this house, little
tiny
house, but it was
house,
fun.
Yeah.
Got together with family. We always had ham, and there was always a ton of food. It was always awesome, right?
Yeah.
But grandma got too old for that. We didn't do it anymore. And then, Christmas Day was usually with my aunt, and my mom and all that stuff when they were alive. And then, when my aunt died, we didn't do that anymore. And then, so like things just changed a lot since I was a kid and really even over the last like a decade, really. But, so now with my family, we go on Christmas Day. We usually go over to my in-laws for brunch.
Uh-huh.
We usually spend the whole day over there. We don't go anywhere else. Nah, I ain't going to do that. Not anymore. And then I'll get together with my brothers and stuff and their family, and then probably with the whatever sometime after that. But that's it. I mean, as far as get-togethers and stuff go, but the kids, they get all kinds of stuff, dude. It's crazy. And I don't know. I don't try to make it too complicated, and I'm not going to commit to things that are too much, but I always wanted to have like an actual Christmas party though, where I invited like friends of ours or like people we haven't seen in a while and all this stuff, and like have a huge meal with everybody like that, because there's a whole ton of people that from like back in the Encounter days and like, you know, from Southeast and like all kinds of different things that I'd love to have.
Yeah.
Just look, y'all come over. We'll have a big old meal and all that kind of stuff. But here we are. We're not doing that.
Maybe that's our goal for next year. Maybe we should have the first annual next year R&B Talks Christmas party.
I like it.
Nice. I think it's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
Maybe post a little bit of the party on the old YouTube channel, right? You know, maybe we'll have an ugly sweater contest.
Word. You know, what's funny is talking about R&B talks and like filming, you know, my new phone takes better video than what we're using now on this ultra commercial, stupid video camera.
That's okay. We'll just keep using the video camera. I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear you say that.
Okay.
Okay. So question. What do you think? And I was thinking about this week. What do you think of the current status and societal opinion of Christmas in the general sense? Does it still have somewhat of a religious zeal, or has it just been, as far as society goes, as we talked about this last week, society versus culture, or has, as far as society goes, has Christmas become all about gifts and other squalor?
I mean, look, you've always had this. It was always the right thing to do to think of Christmas as something other than gifts. Like, I don't think culture has pushed it to a gift. Well, I think commercialization has pushed it into like a gift thing. But I mean, as far as people, when they talk about Christmas or the holidays or whatever, I think in general, it's not really about. They're trying to make it not about the gifts. So I mean, I think that's a good thing from the cultural standpoint. It's veered farther away from a faith-based type of thing.
True.
But so is everything else. So, I mean, it just goes along with it. However, it seems like, you know, there's always something about Christmas that, you know, all the Hallmark movies, Christmas magic and blah, blah, blah. Well, there is something about Christmas, man. It's just something. But I think you don't see as much festivities around Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't anyway. You know, it used to be like people are, I don't know, maybe out more, or like, there's more celebrations. It's more
makes sense.
It's more festive than what it is now.
For sure.
I would say that's a definite decline, at least where I'm at here.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I do like appreciate. Have you guys gone to Charlestown, by the way, and looked at the town square lights? No, dude, it's worth the trip. Your girls would love it. My boys loved it. They just, and it's just a short drive up the road, man. It's not a long way, and it's actually really, man, legitimately worth seeing. Like, and it goes every day up until Christmas Day. Y'all take a drive up there. You really like it.
Well, I can't now.
Well,
I'm on vacation.
I know you can. Listen here, Clark.
Cheers, Paul.
Why did I know that was coming? All right, but anyway, here's what I believe. I believe that just a little bit, that the Western church in general has let Christmas kind of go to the commercial side. And the reason I say that is, you know, one of the great memories that I have back when I first started going to church, I went to this little small church, Hillendale Christian Church. It's a little community church, right? It wasn't, there might be 200 members in there. And they used to have this just awesome, like you sang, you know, Christmas hymns, and you had the candlelit vigil, and, you know, you prayed, and you weren't solemn, but you gave Christmas the reverence it deserved, right? It was about the birth of Christ, right? And I always walked away from that feeling just like next level good, right? Like it was that kind of thing. And a few years ago, I went to a mega church that will remain unnamed because I'm not trying to be a hater. Every church has its purpose, I believe. And as I'm standing in there watching everything go on, I feel like I'm at a Pentatonics concert, and the person came up on stage, and they only spoke for like 10 minutes. And it was this very short, like little crispy, almost like a short telling of the Christmas story, right? And then we went back into singing these just upbeat, like poppy, songs. And when I walked out of the service, I felt nothing. And I realized that kind of the same as with worship today inside of a church, it's gone to a very formulaic kind of, let's give them these, just emotionally grabbing songs. And, I haven't felt that. And now, granted, my current church does a really good job, and I'm glad to be back in it. But for me, I kind of feel like the larger Western churches kind of let the Christmas holiday kind of slide over more to the commercial side and more to the pandering side of, let's be big and epic so we can get people in to see our big and epicness,
So at one of these mega churches where that I participated in the worship team for years and years, there was like 12 services over Christmas weekend, right? So if you were on staff playing for worship or whatever, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big show. It's big to do, man.
Big thing. I mean, and when you talk about mega church productions, it is a production. Like, it's a full-fledged, you got directors, you got backline, you got you got the whole thing like you would have at any kind of major event. That's what they are. And it's, you got timings, you got all kinds of stuff. But I mean, look, I enjoyed it, but there were some years it was better than others, right?
Yeah. For sure.
There was sometimes it would be more subdued, sometimes not. But I think overall what I always thought was important, but doesn't. Well, I guess I'll say this: it's like the Christian Super Bowl is Resurrection Sunday.
Yeah.
So really Christmas should set up this whole idea of leading to that is my opinion. Like you have to make Christmas important about the birth of Christ, because that begins that whole journey through what Christ did in order to get to that pinnacle point of Resurrection Sunday.
Yep.
And I don't think they do that. They just want to make Christmas an event, want to make Easter an event, and it doesn't have this like escalation point to there, really. Not a lot of churches. I haven't really seen too many churches do that well anyway. But going back to Christmas though, I think, Christmas should be a really, you can go there's only two ways, well, I shouldn't say only, but two ways I think for a church to do Christmas well is like either do it solemn where you're like in reverence of like thinking about, Jesus in the manger and like how it was like this out in the countryside and just this little, make it really like where it has a reverent impact like that.
Yeah.
And the other side of that for me would be like if it was a real celebration of the birth of the Messiah.
That's kind of where I'm at, right? Like, dude, that's our Savior. That's the reason that I have eternal life. We need to be celebrating that, right? Okay, quick off the beaten path question, Reggie. What's your favorite Christmas carol?
I'm gonna say I always liked We Three Kings. not only because of like the I've heard it in the timbre of like a baritone or a bass voice.
Yeah.
And I always loved how that sounded. But you can't get over like I think Holy Night has like a lot of meaning that is impactful when done well.
Yeah.
And still is. Little German Boy's fun, but it's not. I don't know. I love playing that before too. That was fun. But I don't know. I mean, those are kind of it.
I'm gonna go with, and there's a special reason behind this, White Christmas by Bing Crosby. And the reason that I love that song was because when my grandmother would play that song, I knew it was the beginning of the Christmas season for our family. Like that song would come out, Bing Crosby, that nice, slow, white, and it was like that was her way of announcing, hey boys, it's now Christmas time, right? And then we got into the Christmas year. But I'm a big fan of Oh Holy Night. That is one of my all-time favorites as well.
It's got a lot of meaning, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of there. The other one I liked, I don't think it was Bing Crosby. Who was it that chestnuts roasting on an open fire? What the hell song is that called?
Chestnuts roasting.
And I can't remember which
Jack Frost.
I can't remember which like old school guy that was.
It's called Merry Christmas, but I don't know who.
Yeah, I can't remember who the version I'm trying to think of. I don't remember which one it was.
I want to say Burl Ives, man. Does that sound right?
No.
Anyway.
It could have been Bing Crosby too.
Could have been Bing Crosby. He did a whole Christmas album and did some amazing versions of some stuff.
Well,
He did God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, and it was impressive.
I have his Christmas album. I have like Sinatra's, and I have all those guys, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of Christmas music I prefer.
Yeah.
Is that. Or on the opposite side of that, for some reason, I loved Mannheim Steamroller and their Christmas stuff, dude. Now it got way pushed into the elevator music these days, but like, back when I was growing up though, I just really dug it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just one of those things, but
not to get off topic, like, it's a mixed bag for me at Christmas, right? It's as I get older, the meaning of the holiday morphs for me, right? Like when you're younger, it's about, Christmas, the time to get it. And now that I'm older, man, I love to give to my kids. I love to watch my wife receive a gift and watch her eyes light up, because she does so much for me throughout the year that she doesn't even know that she does, that I feel like giving back to her in that way is very important. But for me, I get more introspective during Christmas now. Like I'm much more likely to look inwards, to kind of check myself and where I've been that year. And some years have been like, wow, that was a good year, man, spiritually, mentally. And then sometimes you're like, Brian, bruh, what are you doing? Like, bruh. Say that when I'm talking to myself. I don't know why, but that's okay. But it's, and I've had some great blessings this year. I mean, this podcast, man, has been a huge thing for me. Reggie, you and I have known each other now for a while, and
good long,
this podcast is just so important for me to be able to communicate and talk about the things that are going on in my life. You paid me a very nice compliment this evening. I appreciate it, Reggie. I apparently speak more wealthy than I am. But that's cool, right?
You don't look like you're from this neighborhood.
Guess what?
Meh.
But I think I've become more introspective as I get older. Like, and I realize that, when I come to this point, I really need to kind of have a grateful heart. I've managed to be able to, for the last few years, to partake in a career that, I never really thought I would ever do. It always kind of seemed like, fluff. Oh, I'd love to be that one day. I've been blessed with a lot of things, right? And been blessed with a lot of opportunities. And, now is that time to really be grateful and know that, people ask me all the time, Brian, how do you know that God is blessing you? Because real time prayers answered, right? Like real time things have happened that have brought me to where I'm at. And this is that time of year where I really kind of turn to those things and start to become grateful and glad that they're there.
Okay. I'll say this, man. If somebody asked me that, I say, cause I'm breathing.
Yeah.
I'm breathing right now.
Yeah.
I got up this morning. I'm alive today.
Yeah.
If you're not grateful for every moment you're spending here, then you're doing it wrong. Mm. If you got to find, I mean, this is why the when you follow Christ, how different it is in your perspective, because even if you're suffering, there's a purpose to it.
Yeah.
And it's not like that purpose has anything nefarious. Like that purpose is for the good, whether it's something you have to change, something that's going to change as a result of that or whatever. But there's always something good that comes out of a tragedy or a problem or whatever. And it's difficult to maintain that perspective on a day-to-day basis. Christmas though, man, is like, look, this is when in Genesis, when the whole existence was made, man was made, all this stuff. And then when it kind of foretells about, the whole needing a savior type of thing. And, there's all kinds of, I should say this because we don't have time, but how it plays out from Genesis to the book of Matthew when Jesus was born. It's unreal about how that all lays out and how that all works out to that moment. So, I mean, it should be a time of just both of complete and utter, just holy cow. This is magnificent. A celebration, a time of thinking and reverence and all this stuff. You should have all that during Christmas.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of things that get in the way of that. And I'll say the commercialization of the holidays are one. Not to say that there's anything wrong with Christmas trees and all that stuff. You can get into a discussion about where those come from. I drove my wife nuts when when we first got together, because I told her how what some of the pagan rituals were brought into Christmas and not, and by the way, I don't mean Christians brought that into their Christian worship. That must be,
yeah.
We got to keep that separated. I'm saying just in the holiday with, the tree being lit up and kind of stuff like this. Anyway, but my point is, it's up to you to make Christmas what you want to make of it. I mean, it can be really a lot of things. But especially if you got kids, man, I don't know. I was thinking about it actually yesterday. I kind of feel bad how I haven't made Christmas be as special as it should be for my kids.
Yeah, but you got to think, man, you're thinking from the adult perspective, right?
Yeah.
And let me speaking from someone whose kids are a little older than yours, right? Something that I really struck me this year was how calm and cool and this is one of those moments when you've done something good as a parent. When both of my boys were like, you know what, Dad? If you could just give me my letter jacket and we'll call that a day. And, my youngest boy's like, I don't really want a whole lot, just a little something. And they're not really looking for the payoff, right? And I look at that and it makes me proud to know that my kids have a reverence for the holiday beyond what they can garner from the holiday. And I'm sure they'll be taken care of by us and family members and things like that. But my kids just really want to be around the family and do the things that the family does, right? They're more than anything. And that makes me feel good about who my kids are, right? And where their heads are at. You know, so I think that is special to your girls, man. I mean, think about.
Well, not that. I don't say it's not. I mean, I'm just like, I didn't have a chance to. Like, I didn't decorate the tree with them. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a few. I didn't help my wife decorate the house or whatever.
I didn't get to either, man.
You know, I know, but it's like, there's not Christmas music playing in the house. You know, there's not like, you know, I don't know. There's just things that I remember from my childhood that I it's just such a great memory of, like, decorating the tree and, like, all the time my mom or my aunts, like, baking something that smells awesome, you know, or just the constant music of, like, Bing Crosby and Nat King Cole and, you know, all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
You know, and it's just not there yet. But it is a different time, and we have a different thing here too, you know. So I mean, it's not like we're not doing things for for Christmas or for whatever, but it's just different, man.
Hey, Reggie, you're wearing an ugly Christmas sweater.
I know. Obviously, my girls do find it to be festive.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well,
but there is some. Let me ask you this, man. When somebody says, Brian, isn't Christmas just a pagan holiday that the Christians took over?
No.
What would you say to that?
I would say no. Now, let me be honest. I can tell you a lot about Halloween and all of the rituals that Halloween falls from, and I can tell you all about some other holidays, but I've never really studied Christmas, and there's a reason why. I've never looked at Christmas from the perspective of it being a pagan holiday. I've always looked at Christmas as, you know, because even when I was coming up, you know, there was some talk of religion in our family, though it was not practiced very much at all. And I was clear on the fact that it was celebrating the birth of Christ. It was never, you know, it was never not a religious holiday in the sense of understanding what the celebration of Christmas was supposed to be about. So I never really wanted to push it beyond that. And as I got to be older, it wasn't that I wanted to be ignorant of what Christmas was or its history or the add-ons or the bolt-ons that came along with it. I did not want to be educated. I just didn't want to change my own perspective of what it was, right? Like, I never wanted to be like, to give myself an opportunity to be like, oh, I can't believe we do that at Christmas. You know what? I just want to recognize it for what it is. I actually at one point had thought, well, you know, I better study this, but I was like, no, because if I study it, I'm going to find out something I don't like, and it's going to taint the holiday for me. So I've just kind of left it pure in that way in my head, right? So I'm going to say, no, it is not a pagan holiday that was taken over. I may be wrong, but I choose to take that stance out of pure not wanting to know bad things about this holiday.
I will not answer that question then for you.
Well, please answer it. I mean, educate me, dude. I love to be educated, right? So let me know, dude, bro. Hanging on me.
It will change your outlook. I'm telling you, it will change.
I don't think it will.
I'm not saying, look, because here's the.
All right, so who did we steal it from? And can we give it back to him and start our own?
No, we didn't. Okay. When I said we didn't take the holiday from anybody else, but there was commercialization that did. So there is the winter solstice carried through some pagan festivities and stuff that is included in our Christmas holiday.
Okay.
And here's where I want to be sparingly, because I mean, you can research all you want. You'll get different answers to this question, or you'll find different things. But from what I know is, like, the Yule log was kind of a Baal worship type of thing.
Dude, you said log.
I did. And like, so the tree is a progression of that, as a pagan thing kind of stuff. But okay. But then you put a star on the top of the tree, which is significant of the North Star and all that kind of stuff too. So look, it's all got real mixed up, but I don't think anybody, well, okay, I shouldn't say anybody, but most of us don't sit there and put the tree up and go, hail ball. and you know, like we're not doing that. And you know, Santa Claus is like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. But the Christian idea of Christmas hasn't changed. And I think that's important to say. You know, whatever culture and commercialism does with it, I mean, we can't control that kind of stuff, right? I mean,
well, and I have an interesting perspective on that, and a lot of my Christian brothers and sisters find me to be a little cantankerous when I say this, but I truly do believe this, and it's kind of in the vein of, you know, is rock and roll music from the devil?
Yes.
No, it is not. I believe that words only have power if we give them power. You know what I'm saying?
Well, of course.
So if you give Halloween a negative power in your life, it's going to have a negative power. If you have Christmas a negative power in your life, it's going to have negative power. But I don't allow things like that to skew my spiritual existence. I don't allow things like that in to pull me astray. Now I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that certain things don't trigger them, and I realize and understand that. But as far as like Christmas goes, dude, it's the birth of Christ, man. You can dress it up however you want. You can put a revolving solar system on top of your head and call it solar systemus if you want to. I don't care. It's the birth of Christ. And that's one of those things that frustrates me, because, you know, I've known some people that are like, well, we won't do this on Christmas and we won't do this on Christmas because we don't believe that was part of what happened during, you know, when Christ was born. Oh, so you're going to go in your backyard and sleep in a manger? What are you going to do, man? You're taking this to an extreme where you're making it ritualistic. And I don't think it needs to be ritualistic. There's a ritualistic part of the way people approach things that I think is just as distracting as the commercialized side of it, right?
Well, let me here's follow up.
Okay.
Does the Bible call us to celebrate the birth of Christ?
Honestly,
does the Bible say that we should celebrate the birth of Yeshua?
I don't necessarily think so, honestly.
No.
I can't think of anything in the Bible that specifically tells me to go celebrate, right? No. Like, it doesn't.
We're supposed to celebrate the life, death, and resurrection.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that says proclaim this as a holiday, right?
Yeah.
Or a special day or whatever, right? And I mean, look, the importance of that is just to say, like, we're signifying the importance of it. We are doing that. We're saying, look, this is great and this is important, and it is. But it's not like God said, hey, this day is this holiday, poof, it must be celebrated like this, blah, 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 all these rules and such, and, you know, that kind of thing.
All that business.
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your intention is everything. And there's so many, I want to say this too. I got to make this crystal clear. There's so many ancient ritualistic things that have been repeated or borrowed or whatever over the centuries and centuries. No one even remembers the origin point of all these. No Joe Schmo goes, oh, this is a Christmas tree. Oh, that was really actually a symbolism of the Yule log, which the Yule log was used to worship Baal because it was fire and nobody. Only the real nerdy idiot people like me do that kind of nonsense. You know, they're not looking at that going, oh, this means Baal. You know what I mean? That's just one example. There's plenty of other ones, but I mean, look, you obviously, I have a Christmas tree in my home.
Yeah, I do too.
Which for a while I didn't. I mean, to be honest, I told my wife, like, hey, look, I mean, this is what that really kind of comes from. We shouldn't really do that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, come on. We're in 2023. I'm not thinking of that. I'm not doing that. It's a festive thing. It looks nice. Yeah. It's got pretty lights on.
Bruh, I'm sure they didn't have Christmas sweaters at Jesus' birthday either. So
I mean, like red and green are significant colors of this and that, and like the way Santa Claus is dressed is significant for this and that. I mean, you could dig into that as far as you want, but at the end of the day, like I don't know anybody, at least, who's running around going, I'm wearing this because of it's a Luciferian ritual that I'm carrying through. I mean, look, so let's just be real. Like, there's many ways you could like get way into it.
You can get deep in the weeds if you want.
Sure. And look, I think it's fun to know like where that comes from. And it's, but man, at the end of the, look, I'm not celebrating anything but the birth of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't care about Saint Nick. I don't care about the myth and legend of his presence in the chimneys and all that nonsense. I don't care. I'm certainly not going to begrudge my kids from like wanting to like go say hi to a Santa Claus or there. Now, we actually told them and have never lied to them about Santa. We always said that was a myth and a legend. There was a guy named St. Nicholas. He did this. We always did that. They've never did that. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't say anybody should do that or not. I'm just saying, we just said, we're not going to lie to our kids.
Well, both of my boys figured it out by law of deduction, right? Like, we didn't have a chimney. Dylan came to me one day and was like, Dad, we don't have a chimney. So how does he get in our house?
The Tim Allen Christmas movie had that.
Yeah, I know, but I never watched that movie. So
it's actually pretty funny.
I actually was like, so what do you think, buddy? And he's like, he finally looks at me, he goes, all the Christmas presents have your mom's handwriting on them. And I was like, yep. And he goes, I don't think there's a Santa Claus, Dad. And I was like, does that upset you? And he was like, no. And Caleb kind of figured it out the same way.
Yeah, but
right?
Your boys are like so not. But they are kind of laid back with crap like that.
Yeah,
dude.
They are. The kid. That's what I love about my sons is they are so mellow about stuff like that.
I mean, it's like
they're, it's all right, and again, grateful for that, right? But I mean, I would like to issue a challenge to some people, man, and this challenge is for me is do something that you may have never done before, and that's give a gift without expecting anything, right? Give completely. Find someone who's in need and give a gift, whatever that gift might be, right? And give it of the only purpose is to give a gift. Don't give it with the expectation of a thank you. Don't give it for the expectation of reciprocation. That in itself is a very fulfilling thing to do because we're called to give, right? We're called to help others. And I find so many times when I talk to people, I was talking to a guy the other day and he's like, I gave my brother this and he'd do anything for me. And I didn't have the heart to look at this guy and be like, that's not giving, that's bartering. Right? If you're giving with the intention of receiving something in return,
you're not.
That's bartering.
Yeah. Well, so
you just didn't tell the other person they were obligated.
I don't wait till Christmas to get people stuff, for one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that. So when Christmas time comes around, I'm like, is there something weird or funny or something?
Yeah. For like something cool.
The best thing that people, and this is for me, the best thing people can do for someone else is to make someone something. And it could be something as silly as like a picture or a letter or some kind of weird, if you're into woodwork, whatever. But
macaroni art.
I don't care. Like if you made something for somebody and like if I get a gift and someone makes it by them, like they made this, I don't care what it is. I'm like overwhelmed. That is amazing. Cause for me, it's the time and the effort to put in there went farther than just clicking on a button on Amazon or something. Right.
Yeah.
Like with my mother-in-law, man, I know she probably didn't think it was that big a deal, but she made like these liqueurs on her own, like these from scratch, like a Irish cream, a Kahlua or whatever, made them and gave it to us for Christmas. I thought that was the coolest freaking thing ever.
Yep.
Because she made it. I mean, I didn't really.
She created it.
Yeah, I didn't care. I don't. What was it? I don't know. There's been a couple times, man, where it's just been like, just been blown away by something like that.
Dude, you know what always gets me is when somebody takes the time to make like a homemade snack or something. Like a couple of years ago, somebody brought me this chocolate almond brittle. And man, it was so cool because they were like, you know what? I was making this, man, and I thought you would like this. And the fact that they took a moment and went, you know what, man, I think Brian would really love some of this. So they made extra. They put effort and heart into making their own sweat and time and brought me this brittle. And I was just, my hair was blown back, man, because I was like, the fact that somewhere in your process you thought, hey, man, Brian would like some of this. I was like, how cool is that, right? You know, and it just, you know, I think that to me, stuff like that, you know, it's to me, it's the actual thought that counts in a gift like that you took a minute, like your mother-in-law, she took a minute to do that. Takes creativity and time and effort, and you got to do some research and study, and you go get ingredients and put the right things together.
Well, that's why we make cookies, and give it to our neighbors, right?
Yeah.
We make a whole bunch of cookies.
Yeah.
This year, I actually I went one step farther. I got like a special stamp that has like Merry Christmas from the Pains, you know, that you stamp
cool.
the cookies, you know.
That's cool.
And so but yeah, I mean, cause I'm thinking like, you know, I never talk to my neighbors that much. I mean, we live a little bit farther apart than most, I think. And it's like there's a lot of older people around here,
yeah,
you know? So,
yeah.
But anyway, so, I mean, everybody has to understand that churches are going to do churchy type of Christmas things.
Yeah.
And churches it's full of people that are trying to do, they're trying. It just gets messed up sometimes. But the holidays, look, just there's a lot of people. I want to say that the holidays are the roughest part of the year.
Yeah.
You know, they lost their spouse. They lost a kid. They, you know, it's the first Christmas of this or that, right? I mean, it's freshly divorced parents, the first time when they have to look, there's all kinds of things that this holiday, that Christmas really messes people up.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting because nowadays I used to be like out and about a lot doing like shopping and stuff like that for people or the parties or whatever the case may be, but I'm not anymore because we're, you know, internet,
kids, man.
click, and you got kids and you got everything else. But I hope that people are out and about and just understand that, you know, I hate it when you see those people that are in just such a hurry or they're just angry at the world. And it's like, you know, this Christmas time and the one guy who's like actually enjoying Christmas and like, they're like, give him a dirty look or whatever, you
Worse
know,
over,
it's like
be intentionally rude or mean. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know,
but I want to tell you something cool, man, that goes on in my little neighborhood. There's a lady in my neighborhood and she's lost a husband and a son. And she has a tree in her yard next to her house. And every year, she decorates that tree in honor of her husband and her son. And she invites people from anywhere, to come and hang an ornament for a lost loved one or someone that was close to them. And, you know, if you know me, you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to put her on blast just because I want to respect her privacy. But that is an example of someone who took their pain and gave it purpose, right? Like when she's very public about it, like she wants people to be involved, and she invited my youngest son to get involved, and she's been, and on top of that, one of the kindest people you'll ever meet in your life. You know, there's people in the world that experience loss, and it gives them perspective. And this woman is one of those people that's experienced some heavy, heavy loss in her life. And it's given her perspective, and she deserves credit. And I'm very protective of her, and so is my wife, because she is one of the nicest people.
Yeah.
And that to me is, you know, indicative of the right way to handle loss in a time of celebration is to celebrate, right? I mean, you know, as Christians, when we get to Resurrection Sunday, we're celebrating the loss of our Savior in a way, and the resurrection of him. And, you know, one of the things I would tell people, and this is just kind of a blanket thing, and if anybody, let me be clear, if anybody's listening to what Reggie and I are talking about and you're having a hard time, I would love for you to reach out, man. I would love to help you find some ways to, you know, take care of that and get some help. But, you know, this is that time when, you know, you can really make something out of your loss, right? You can make it a new day. And that's impressive to me, that someone can lose that much and yet stay focused on what matters, right?
Well, not just that, dude, but like sometimes the best way to handle stuff like that is to serve others.
Yeah.
You know, and there's always a need.
Yeah.
In December of all times, usually in the winter, it's cold. There's a lot of homeless people that need some help.
Yeah.
So there's tons of organizations that you could call and say, hey, what can I do? And they'll likely we got all kinds of things you can
call your local church, man. Sometimes the best organization's just down the street.
Yep.
Right.
But I mean, there's all kinds of service opportunities that helps so much people. I mean, helping others helps you.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So anyway, look, Merry Christmas, y'all. We hope you have a good holidays.
Comment, like, post.
Peace, love, joy.
We're two guys. These are two chairs. Merry Christmas, guys.
Ho, ho, ho.